always say every book I've ever written or everything I teach comes out of my own doubts, fears, and insecurities. These habits that I had been developing only because I'm so interested in positive psychology really kept me alive. I don't even want to say alive, but my habit of journaling, they really kept me from drowning. I want you to run on alignment, not adrenaline. No one's teaching people how to have agency over their thoughts and emotions. Conflict is energy.
Welcome to the Future Walk podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Draper, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm joined by Michelle Phillips, known to her clients as the Light Lady. Michelle's an award-winning author, international speaker, and Fortune 100 coach who has spent 25 years helping leaders master their internal energy to shape their outcomes. She's the creator of the Energy Rules Framework, author of Happiness is a Habit, and the newly released Energize Your Happiness, and host of the Write Your Outcome podcast. Now, the Future Walk helps you to step out of external noise to think clearly about your future. And Michelle's work helps you manage your internal energy so you can actually create that future. Now, both practices start with this belief that you have more control over your outcomes than you think. Michelle, welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. I'm very excited to dive into this. This is my favorite topic, so I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So happy you're here. So to dive in, let's just do it. And we'd love to have you share a little bit about yourself and where you've come from, why you do what you do, and some of the, we'll get into some of the impact and the how in the world, but just why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I will say, I always say every book I've ever written or everything I teach comes out of my own doubts, fears, and insecurities. So the saying, what you need most, you teach, resonates deeply with me. I've always had a propensity for, I like people, right? You can tell I'm good with people. People say that all the time. But I really learned how, I studied emotional intelligence and then I studied positive psychology. And earlier in my career, I did all the sales training for Verizon Wireless.
Oh.
And that led me to the psychology of sales.
Wow.
Which once I got into psychology, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this topic more than anything. And I went back for my master's at Fordham. And I remember I gave a presentation then called Leading with a Heart.
Oh.
We're talking maybe 30 years ago, 25, it was a while ago, 25 years ago. I gave this presentation, and this woman in the class was a VP at a big company, and she's like, I want you to do a full day workshop for my executives.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I didn't have a full day workshop, but I just spoke from my heart on leading people. Not just, there's always a task involved, but there's a heart involved. There's a person involved. So I started doing workshops for this company way back when, moonlighting, and they became my first client.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm onto something. I literally jumped ship in 2000 from my corporate work to start my own consulting business, which is where I am 25 years later, 26 almost in August.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. And so your journey started with just that human connection and recognition of leadership is hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work also,
both.
Right. And that being that really a necessity to connect at the heart level. That's fantastic. And I love to hear your positive psychology. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? I'm also a positive psychology practitioner, if you will, and I would love to have you share a bit about that.
Yeah. So again, I've been doing this so long, positive psychology wasn't even a thing when I started, right? We used to call it positive thinking, Norman Vincent Peale. I read all these books, and I was always a believer before there was any science or research behind any of it. And I remember clear as day, it was a cold winter morning. I was at a coffee shop in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and I bought this book called Learned Optimism by Dr. Martin Seligman.
Yeah.
And I remember going, oh my gosh, like somebody's putting a body of research behind everything I already believe and know to be true. But now there's this body of research. So I was so excited. So I started reading about it and what was happening. And positive psychology was so new then,
Yeah.
they didn't even have the course. So when the first course at University of
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, I'm getting ahead of myself. Martin Seligman is
Yes.
the leader. I call him the father of positive psychology
Great.
out of the University of Pennsylvania. When the program first started, the first year, I think there was 36 people in the program,
Wow.
and I applied,
Oh, you
and I
did.
did
Wow.
not get in.
Oh, goodness.
So
Oh, no.
I thought, do they know who I am? But it was global. They only could take
Right.
36 people. So within the next year, I wrote my first book, Happiness is a Habit,
Mhm.
based on positive psychology. And the next year, they wrote to me and said, you should apply this year.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I'm good. I just wrote a book on it. But I did write Dr. Martin Seligman. So
Yeah.
when Happiness is a Habit was coming out, I wrote
Mhm.
him and said, I have this new book. I would love you to endorse it because you really shaped my life with your work.
Yeah.
And he wrote me back a one sentence email. He said, I always read, rarely endorse. So I was like, okay.
Uh-huh.
So then when the book came out, I wrote to him again. I said, thank you again. I don't even remember. Oh, I sent him the book, I think. And he wrote back to me again and he wished me, hope it's a bestseller. One sentence.
Yeah.
And then maybe a year or so later, he came out with a new book. I can't remember which one, but in the book, he wrote that he gets so many emails, he responds to all his emails with one sentence.
Oh,
So I laughed. I'm like, okay, I've been the recipient of two of his one sentence
I
emails.
know someone else who's been a recipient of one of those.
Yes. Yeah, so it was funny. So while I respect him, I give him, I shout out to all the
Yeah,
positive
amazing.
psychologists, all the researchers doing the work. But that's what led to the first book.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Once I started to hear about positive psychology and begin to understand the kind of the framework of it, not even a framework, but the spirit of it, like living your best life. He is absolutely the father, the founder. Living your best life, living. How do you thrive and flourish? And what does that mean in your life? What does that mean to the people around you? Dr. Chris Peterson, one of his,
Yeah.
who was right co-founders. I use his a quote he had in an article some time ago talking about resilience. I use it all the time because it was almost a pivot point, like almost a right
Mm.
turn or a full 180 for me in my understanding of what resilience really was. And his description was just a description in this article was about resilience being the ability to struggle well. And I
Mm.
use that all the time because it just reframed this whole idea of struggle, reframed difficulty and challenges into something of normalcy and also something of opportunity and growth rather than something to overcome. It's really something to get into and then reflect on out on the other side to bring that forward to others. So yeah, positive psychology. Oh my goodness, I love that. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And again, congratulations on the new book. So, what is? Tell us
Thank you.
about this new book and kind of where your journey's taken you in between these, because this is probably 20 some years in between them.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, Sarah, I like what you're just saying about the ability to struggle well.
Hmm.
When I got into positive psychology, and I think that's happiness, unfortunately, gets a bad rap because they, oh,
Hmm.
it's fake or it's toxic positivity or whatever people are
Right, right,
saying
right.
these days. But genuine good feelings are palpable.
Hmm.
It's the Duchenne smile. It's the real smile. It's
Yeah.
like people
Yeah.
can walk in a room and not say anything.
Yeah.
So the first book was basically mental, physical, spiritual, emotional habits that keep you grounded and feeling good about yourself and your life.
Yeah.
And what even motivated that even more was early. I mean, I know you're an Army, is it, what do you say, West Point graduate? Is it
Yeah.
West
Yeah.
Point?
An army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So you get that, those habitual like working out and
Yeah.
well-being. And so
Hmm.
I've always been someone who works out and eats right. And it was working so well for me. Then I started to, well, what are my habits around finance? What are my
Hmm.
habits around relationships? What are my habits around self-care? So I really started exploring habits. And when my first marriage was crumbling,
Hmm.
I realized the one thing that kept me strong in the loneliest, most heartbreaking time of my life
Hmm.
was my habits. I
Mm.
still went to the gym. I still ate healthy. I had a great not a podcast, a great playlist on my
Yeah.
iPhone, or
Yeah.
back in the day we had a iPod,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I had a great group of people to support me. So these habits that I had been developing only because I'm so interested in positive
Yeah.
psychology really kept me alive. I don't even want to say alive, but my habit of journaling,
Hmm.
they really kept me from drowning and going down a very dark path. I could see easily how people start to drink too much because I
Hmm.
was didn't want to be home by myself.
Mm.
So I would go
Yeah.
out at night and then, oh, just one drink. Oh, just one more. Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
oh, I'm not going to work out in the morning.
Right.
So to make the quick bridge for you,
Yeah.
Happiness is a Habit came out the beginning of 2014.
Oh, okay.
And it was all about habits of positive people,
Right.
based in the research, lots of research in that.
Hmm.
Also, Dan Tal Ben Shahar, who teaches at Harvard, he did endorse this book. So I will,
Yeah.
he
Okay.
did say yes to an endorsement. So he teaches the happiness workshops
Mhm.
at classes at Harvard. So then when the book came out, Sarah, you become the poster child of what you're teaching.
Okay.
So whenever I was in a bad mood, my dad would go, remember, Michelle, happiness is a habit. And I was like,
There's a
yeah,
lot
but
of accountability in that now.
yeah, I'm not really
Right.
happy right now. So you learn to struggle well, as you said before.
Yeah.
So I was able to, when things didn't go my way, get back on track quicker.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the more I practiced the habits,
Hmm.
the more I started experiencing what I call energetic highs.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like momentum. When you're doing something on a regular basis, you start to get momentum and it gets easier versus, oh, I'm going to start working out tomorrow for the first time in my life. And I don't know the first thing about working out.
Right.
So the momentum of my good habits, and I love everything you say, Sarah, like check, 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 like go outside, get fresh air, take those mental breaks.
Hmm.
Don't put back to back meetings on your
Right.
schedule.
Hmm.
All those things I'm a big advocate of. Energize your happiness. What I found was it's almost, what the positive psychologist would call flow, the flow
Yeah.
state,
Yeah.
and the athlete calls the zone. I call your personal energy alignment. When you are, I say, tuned in, tapped in mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally to your own mind, your own heart,
Hmm.
your own gut, which then connects you to something greater than you.
Wow.
And that's where I say all the masters live. The best songs are written from this place. The best
Yes.
athletes are when you're in that creative space,
Yes. Hmm.
which I believe going on a future walk gets you there because
Yeah.
it gets your senses into the present moment,
Right.
you're able to make better decisions.
Wow. Gosh, so many great things there. Maybe working here backwards, just that most recent thing. I've begun to think about personal performance, if you will, like your ability to perform as strength and real strength, not just like the grit, get it
Yeah.
done,
Yes.
that resilience piece, but those three-dimensional or full person and what you're doing it for connection. So I talk about working in your states, those things that help your foundation, your body, right? But also like your nervous system and working in those states and having tools to regulate that. And then getting into your traits. This is where the emotional intelligence and other things along those lines come in, building the capacities of resilience, focus, empathy, all those. And then what you're doing it for, and that's the relate. So I call it strength because STR, state trait relate. So
Okay.
the
Yeah.
relate is what you're doing it for, with a thing outside of you, or sometimes where you get that strength yourself internally, where you get your inspiration from. But I love that, just kind of that recognition of the value of the whole person, right? Not just any one part of you, but that whole person, leading to your personal energy alignment. So now people call you the light lady. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah. I mean, many years ago, I'll try to tell the quick story. In 1997, I studied with Jack Canfield in Santa Barbara, California, who I have to give a plug. He endorsed the second book, so I'm happy
Oh,
to have
good.
his name on that book. I studied with Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul
Yeah,
series, a
yeah.
co-author. And uh, in the workshop, there was about 200 of us there for 8 days.
Oh.
And after every break, we had to change our seat. So there was this man there who had a really weird haircut, and I don't know, he looked weird to me. So I purposely avoided him when we would switch our seats. And when I finally met him, because I finally did sit next to him, it turned out he had just had brain surgery,
Oh, wow.
which is why he had a weird haircut.
Mhm.
And I always say to myself, I always say now, every time I judge another, I judge wrong. Right. I was so judging him.
True. Yeah.
He turns out we're in California and he lives right in the next town over, New Jersey, where I grew up in New York. And he goes to me at the workshop, Michelle, we're both being certified. We were being certified in Jack Canfield's success
Mhm.
principles, self-esteem, peak performance workshops. He goes, let's do a workshop in August. And I said, oh, my sister's getting married. I'm
Mhm.
throwing a bridal shower. And he goes, okay, let's do it in September.
Uh-huh.
I go, my sister's getting married in September. I can't. And he looks me straight in the face and he
Uh-huh.
goes, how long are you going to put off going
Yeah.
for your dreams?
Wow.
Because I wasn't doing this full time yet. I was still
Yeah.
at corporate job. And I thought to him, screw you. Who are you to tell me, what I'm doing? And he became one of my guiding angels. He's since passed away, but
Oh,
was one of the biggest angels in my life. And he lost 70% of his vision during his illness,
oh my goodness.
which created he could see like light, but he really couldn't see focus.
Okay.
So whenever he saw me, he said I was light. And
Oh,
he came to my home.
wow.
He said, this is like you. He's like, you bring light.
Oh,
So he
wow.
started calling me the light lady.
Oh,
And
my.
I just took it as a fun little nickname. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I said,
Mhm.
I'm going to use that. Like, why are I not
Yeah.
using it? I tease, I say, if Queen Latifah can call herself a queen, I can call myself the light lady. So
Right.
that's,
I
yeah.
love that. That's stepping into it. That's totally embracing that. And then
Yeah.
I mean, that's your whole thing is about energy. Well, not your whole thing, you've got a lot
Yeah.
of things, but really about that energy and how you use that, right? So when you work with leaders and you've worked with some, you've learned from some extraordinary ones. Clearly, I also see that you've got a connection with Stephen Covey. Is that right? So
Well,
that's
yes, I
good.
did his workshops for many years as
Yeah.
well.
And so you,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
go on. No, go on, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's so many great teachers out there, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. There's so many. We are at a time in history where we have really lost our connection to what I call the magic. We've
Hmm.
lost our connection to transcendence and things that you can't prove.
Yeah.
So, as much as I love positive psychology and I love the research, I
Hmm.
don't need it to
Hmm.
believe.
Right.
So that's why I always consider myself the bridge.
Mhm.
Someone said to me after a workshop once, they walked up to me in the hallway, I remember on the break, and the guy walked up to me and he said to me, you bring soul to the workplace.
Oh,
And I thought,
fantastic.
oh my gosh. So often we leave half of ourselves in the car to come into our
Mhm.
places of work, and we're so busy operating, like you say, from tasks and to dos. And we're literally operating what I call from the neck up. We're just thinking, thinking, thinking.
Mhm.
And my goal is to connect people not only to their heart,
Right.
but to their gut, which your gut is the place where your soul meets your body. And that's why there's
Mhm.
such a strong connection that we are not
Mhm.
human beings. We're the being behind the human. There's a
Yeah.
force, there's a spirit, there's a force that's animating our bodies. And
Yeah.
when you go to a funeral, that spirit is gone from the body. The body is laying there in the casket,
Right.
but the spirit, the life is gone. So the life that is animating us is what I want people to connect to because it's always guiding you. It's the best GPS system you will ever own.
And that's that light. Okay, so you talked about the being behind the body and your heart, the heart of the leader, and the soul, and your work learning from so many extraordinary leaders and thinkers. And now you take all of this and you bring it to leaders. You bring it to other leaders, and you help them bring that energy into their place, right?
Well, yeah. So the whole idea is, and it's everything you talk about, which is what I love, because I
Mhm.
listen to your work. I hear you saying alignment is better. Alignment.
Mhm.
I always say I want you to run on alignment, not adrenaline.
Yeah. Oh,
Most leaders are running on adrenaline, and we're always being, they want to do more, push out more, do more. And we are not machines.
right.
The machine always wants you to, can you want to play again? Do you want to play again? Oh, you got a
Yeah.
lot of likes. You better post again, post. And it's like, oh my gosh, we are always being pulled into the machine
Mhm.
world or the screen world when we are not machines
Right.
or computers. So, what I want my leaders to do is know what it feels like to be in alignment. And I give the example of, I always say to my classes, imagine I just gave you, well, pick your favorite sports car. And imagine I give you your favorite sports car
Hmm.
and you have these high performance tires. And I put you on this road with nobody. And I say, just have a blast. So you go out there and you are riding and you are taking the turns and the car performs so well. What happens the minute one of those tires blows out?
Ah, yeah.
Right? You're out of alignment, but you're still driving. It's almost like driving on the rumble strips. So most people, unfortunately, are living their life like that every day. They're riding on the rumble strips, their tires blown out, they're mentally, physically, emotionally
Hmm.
depleted,
Yeah.
but they're showing up. And because they're high performers, they know how to do it.
Hmm.
So I want people to know, and I love what you say, take a future walk. I always tell my leaders, I want you to go outside for 5 minutes, if you could, 10 to 20, if you can,
Hmm.
but 5 minutes and look at the sky and smile.
Yeah.
It just breaks everything. And then your neurons. So again, it's momentum. So
Hmm.
I'm going to say one last thing. Every thought you have is an electromagnetic unit of energy
Hmm.
that gathers another thought, that gathers another thought, just like it. So if you are having negative thoughts or you're having conflict,
Hmm.
you're just building one negative thought after the
It's like a
other versus
snowball.
when you
It's
take
just
the
piling
future
on.
walk
Yeah.
or the 5 minutes, then you break that thought
Yeah.
cycle and you get to start over.
Oh, I love that. So working with leaders and getting them to run on alignment, not adrenaline, and giving them these skills. What are some of the more common or helping them understand some tools maybe that people can use? You've talked about get outside and look at the sky and smile, right?
Yeah.
Something like in the moment, practically in the moment that is really legitimately doable. What are some other things you help people?
Yeah. The biggest thing is the write your outcome method, which I talk
Mhm.
about. And
Yeah.
it's basically the write your outcome method. So there's two things. There's energy and
Yeah.
then writing the outcome. So your
Okay.
energy, I always say there's rules to energy. So when my new book is all and different energy rules. And I play on the word because it kind of rules, like I have a lot of energy, that rules, but it also there's rules to energy. If you jump off a
Yeah.
building, you fall. It's gravity, it's a rule.
Right.
So our emotions are following the rules of energy, but we don't have agency over our thoughts and emotions. No
Mhm.
one's teaching people how to have agency over their thoughts and emotions. So before I even get to the write your outcome, let me do
Yeah.
this. I just saw a statistic, 20, I think it's 23% of college students are on antidepressants
Mm.
because nobody has taught them how to manage their thoughts and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I teach in energy rules. Your thought is a belief. Your thought stems from a belief.
Yep.
A belief is something you decided was true.
Ah. Yeah.
A belief is something you decided was true. You could say, I'm good looking, I'm not good looking. I'm rich, I'm
Right.
not rich. I mean, I know people with a gazillion dollars and they think they're poor, and I know people that don't have that much and think they're rich.
Right.
So we first have to look at our beliefs because
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're believing is creating an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have the emotion that, I'm doing well, I'm not doing well. The focus of our emotions is, I call it the magnifying glass theory. So if we went outside on a sunny day, Sarah, and I had a magnifying glass and a pile of leaves,
Mm-hmm.
I would take all the energy of the sun and I would focus it and we would start a fire.
Right.
We have the same energy with our thoughts and where we're putting our focus, but we're so sloppy with our thinking.
Right.
We're judging and complaining and criticizing, and we're throwing our thoughts, our focus, where our attention is so muddy
Yeah.
that we have no momentum, no power. When I take my thoughts and emotions, and I made up a word, I make up all these things, energizio,
Oh, I like it.
which is
Energy's a giver.
focusing your attention on what you want.
Mm,
When I focus my attention on what I want and where I'm going, I will get better momentum. It's kind of like complaining about I can't find a house. There's no houses. There's nothing on the market and
yeah.
expecting to find a house. You're spending all your time focusing on what you don't want.
Right.
We do it with jobs, we do it with spouses,
Yeah.
we do it all the time. So in Energize Your Happiness, I start to break it down, all these emotional, mostly mental tools that I work with the leaders,
Hmm.
because the leaders are smart. Here's the thing, these people are super smart, high achievers,
Absolutely.
running huge companies. I mean, I
Right.
look at the budgets they run and the amount of people that are under them. And really, it's about managing where they're focusing, where they're putting their energy, because if they're not getting the outcome they want, they could write a new outcome based on where they focus.
Yeah. How is there a tool or like an action step that you use to help people be able to focus? Because
Yeah.
I find like focus is super like it's like some valuable gem that I don't always generally have access to, right? It seems like something other people can cultivate. And I do a lot on my own to try to
Yeah.
teach my brain to focus, mindfulness meditation and journaling
Yeah.
and get break that neural energy that you're talking about, how that energy, that momentum of that negative energy, how it builds on doing things to break that. And those things help. But is there like a suite of tools that seem to resonate with most of your leaders that really help them be able to focus on figure out what they want, truly what they want, but then focus on that versus all the other shiny objects that might come up?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's so many things popping in my head. You're doing it. The whole future walking is
Mhm.
slowing down the neurons,
Mhm.
getting in touch with your senses, right?
Yeah.
When you're in nature, everything calms down
Yes.
and you think
Yeah.
clear.
Mhm.
So it's to me, I call it a living meditation because focus is not something like I love to meditate in the morning,
Mhm.
but then you have to constantly refocus
Yeah.
all day long.
Right.
And people don't like to hear this, but it comes from slowing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a great quote. Let me see if I say it right. These times are urgent. We must slow down.
Ooh, I like that. That's pretty profound. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. So in the Write Your Outcome method, I use a worksheet because I find writing is a great tool for focus.
Yes. Mhm.
I give a lot of writing assignments in a journal using a pen and not, I don't
Yeah.
like screens as much as possible because
Right.
screens are distracting.
Right. Mhm.
There's always something popping up to distract you. So give them a worksheet. I'm like, go find your favorite beverage, your favorite seat in the house. I want you to use an actual, pen in the journal, and I want you to write your outcome. So the WRITE, W stands for write what you want.
Right. What
I
you want.
want to improve my focus.
Mhm.
R is recognize resistance.
Yeah.
And this
Yes.
is where people, I have the attention span of a fly. I can't, how many adults tell me they have ADD? And then I say to them, I look them straight in the eye and I go, have you been diagnosed?
Mhm. Yeah.
And they go, no. I'm like,
Right.
if you've not been diagnosed, don't even put that label. Stop even saying that.
Mhm.
But you start to recognize there's never enough hours in the day, all this resistance we have.
Mhm.
And I always tell people the the sun and the 24 hours in the day keeps the planets aligned.
Right.
It's
If it
not
works
the
for the
system,
planets.
it's the programmer. It's not.
Right. If it works for the planets, we can handle it too.
Yeah. So it's recognize you have to recognize where we're being resistant because
Mhm.
that you're shining the light on it. And then I is intentionally choose a better thinking thought.
Mm.
Right. So if I'm saying I've got the attention span of a fly, stop saying that. Start saying, I think I could do this for 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Like intentionally choose something that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a 10-minute future walk. I'm going to leave my phone in the house, like Sarah suggests, and I'm going to focus on I call it the new green right now in New York, like that new,
Oh,
when New York, when the
love
leaves start to come on the trees,
spring
it's that
green. It's my
beautiful,
favorite green. Oh,
yes.
so pretty.
So I'm just going to go outside and focus on new green.
Mhm.
So that's intentional and that feels good, right? It's not, Don't make it so hard that you just want to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Then take an actual step, what I call the emotional ladder. And when you take a step towards what you want, you feel better. And
Mm-hmm.
then the E just stands for energy, take, enthusiastic action, energy ZO. So once people like write it out in longhand,
Yeah.
even the act of writing slows
Yes.
you down.
Yes.
It forces you to have kind of one stream of
Mm-hmm.
thought.
Yep.
You're using four out of your five senses. You're kinesthetically writing,
Mm-hmm.
you're saying it to yourself, and you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing it.
Ah.
So the act of writing is a beautiful meditation in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's something you practice all day long, every day. So it's awakened doing. It's kind of like I love potato chips and popcorn. And I could eat a bowl of popcorn and then go, "Oh, did I eat that? What just
Right.
happened?" Right?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
unconsciously
Yeah.
doing so
Yeah.
many things.
Right.
So it's really bringing that consciousness back to what you're doing.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's write what you want, recognize resistance, intentionally choose a better thinking. Well, now I
Feeling thought. Yeah.
okay, feeling, and then take a step on the emotional ladder and energizio.
Yeah. The action.
Oh, that's great. So you talk about you don't talk so much about goals, do you? You don't work as much, or do you work
I
towards
do.
goals?
It's interesting. I feel like in my evolution, I'm a big, that was the first class I taught, right?
Yeah.
I taught Franklin Covey goal setting.
Yeah.
I'm still a big goal setter. What I've learned over the years about myself and about energy is I
Mhm.
do still set goals and I still work. So if I get a
Mhm.
client,
Mhm.
so a brand new coaching client, I would give you a worksheet.
Mhm.
I would give you on these pre-work questionnaires,
Yep.
and through the pre-work questionnaires,
Yep.
themes will bubble up on
Yes.
what we need to work on.
Right, right.
Then those will become our goals.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing with the goals are the energy you are feeling while you are achieving your goals.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people are dissatisfied right now, is because
Yeah.
we're oh my God, how many people are driving nicer cars, living in bigger houses?
The
We
comparison.
keep having
Mhm.
more and more and more in our Western world. But when you achieve something
Mhm.
on adrenaline, it's not fulfilling
Right, right.
because you literally left your soul in the car, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So you'll start then with helping them to identify what really is most important for them, and then working on that pathway to help get there, using energy and using all the principles that you've really developed over time. You've learned, but you've made sense of and put into really
Yeah.
logical frameworks that help other people.
Yeah, these people are really smart people. They're really smart. They're doing really well at their jobs.
Yeah.
But again, if they're not emotionally centered, they have anxiety or they're burnt out, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so thank you. And part of that is again back to that energy side. So that alignment, we've talked about how that alignment is within. How about externally as a leader? What impact does that energy and alignment have for their leadership and the people
Oh,
that they're leading?
can I tell another story that
I love
illustrates?
stories. Yes, that's how
Yeah.
we
So
learn.
I don't know if you follow, but on October 26th,
Hmm.
2025, did you watch the monks, 24 monks set off? So on October 25th,
No.
didn't make headlines. So I'll tell you the
Oh,
story.
I'm bummed I missed it. Please tell the story.
You
Yeah.
could still look it up. So on October 25th, 2025, a group of monks, I think there was about half, 2 dozen monks, they left Fort Worth, Texas
Hmm.
on a pilgrimage, what they call the Walk for Peace.
Okay.
And what they did was they weren't protesting, they weren't trying to change anyone's beliefs, they weren't looking for votes, they were just walking
Hmm.
from Texas to DC. They did this over 108 days,
Wow.
walking approximately 23 to 25 miles a day.
Wow.
And in the beginning, and if you remember how cold this winter was, where we
Yeah.
had really freezing snow, especially
Brutal.
here on the
On the
where
East
am I?
Coast.
The East Coast. I'm like, where
Yeah,
am I?
you guys got nice
So
snow. Sad.
they walked through all this crazy snow and they just peacefully walked and didn't talk. And their energy of love and peace was permeating so beautifully that by I don't know how many weeks, millions of people were going in the streets just to watch them walk by. They were
Wow.
falling to their knees, they were praying, they were crying, they were handing them flowers. And what they really showed in an era of noise and
Mhm.
yelling and likes and follows, that you can make a big impact with your energy alone.
Yes. Wow. Oh my
They were,
goodness.
yeah, they were so powerful, and it pains me that it didn't make the news, but some people, it's called Walk for Peace.
Walk for peace. Thank you so much. So, walk for peace. What a beautiful and well, a beautiful illustration of the profound impact of everything you teach, right? Not saying a word, just that presence alone. And then that collective presence, I can't help but think about that. It still would
Yeah.
have been very impactful had it been one, but having that collective, maybe energy multipliers, would you see them like really helping to augment each other as well as like amplify one another?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And that's kind of what you talked about, I think, on one of your podcasts about like if you have to have a difficult
Yeah.
conversation, making sure you're in that good energy space to
Right.
have that conversation before you just burst in the office from one meeting to the next. And now you're all off, and now you're trying to give this person developmental feedback, and it's not received because you're not even in a good
You're
space.
in a good space.
So leaders have so much
Mhm.
power
Mhm.
that they can, use for them, for their own good and for the good of their people that work with them.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. And a lot of power, a lot of agency, right? So they have that potential positive or not positive, right?
Yes.
With that positive energy, they really have an amazing ability to have that a good effect on another human being, and then eventually a ripple effect out into the
Yeah.
world, right? And then, so the positive power, that positive energy, that positive ripple effect for an outcome, right? And so you
Yeah.
talk your podcast is right, your outcome. Can you talk to us about outcomes? Maybe
Yeah.
if it's the same as goals or different from goals, like how you
Well,
look
I
at
think
outcomes.
yes and no. So to
Mhm.
me, it could be a goal,
Mhm.
but to me, write your outcome could be. I had a client in a class once, and I thought it was so good. She goes, "Oh, this works for my quarterly goals, but it works for when I'm about to walk in the house after a hard day's work, and I know the sink's going to be full of dishes." Right? Do
Ah,
I want to walk in the house and have a bad night and be
yeah.
mad at my kids and my husband? Or do I want to, before I get there, I'm going to say, no matter what state the house is in, the outcome I want is a peaceful, enjoyable evening with my family.
Yeah.
So it's something we could do all day long. It
Uh-huh.
also, to me, is when I go back to the monks, we expect a world to be peaceful when most people aren't peaceful on the inside.
Mhm.
So to me, that inner sense of peace, that inner sense of trust and knowing
Yeah.
permeates. So each of us, to me, in energy, in my book, Energy Rules, I even write about the division in our country in the, like, what do you call it? The author's preface, because I mean, back in 2014, when I felt like things were starting to widen and the polarities and the division, when I was writing my book, I came to a point where I said I could make a decision just to hang around with people who think like me, vote like me, and believe
Mhm.
like me. And I thought that just shrinks my world.
Yeah.
And I don't want to shrink my world. I want to expand my world. So
Mhm.
that's where Energize Your Happiness kind of came from, too. How do we stay open to each other? How do we keep our hearts open and our minds open
Yeah.
in a world that wants us to be divided, or then maybe just the news wants us to be divided and, fighting. So I thought this is a great opportunity for me to mold my energy. I can't call myself a leader or call myself a spiritual person if I'm only for people who think and believe like me.
Right.
I
Right.
have to be inclusive, and I have to be able to listen to both sides, even if I
Yeah.
don't agree, and not get emotionally hijacked. So I want to be able to manage my energy in the way that I manage my nervous system, so we can have a real conversation that is meaningful versus me forcing my opinion on you and then maybe you forcing your opinion on me and we leaving not having anything accomplished. So Einstein has the great quote, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transmuted. And
Yes.
conflict is energy. So do I want to take this energy of conflict and do I want to fight with you or do I want to put it into something that's meaningful for
Mhm.
both of us?
Yeah. What are your personal practices you do to be able to be in that space, to be in that space of transmuting that energy to not getting sucked in emotionally,
Mhm.
and being able to have a dialogue with someone whose views might be very different from you? What do you do for yourself?
Yeah, and that's where the space comes in. It's leaving space and silence.
Mhm.
If you say something I don't agree with, it could be something that really hits me hard. And I think, oh, she just said that and I don't agree. So my inner child or my inner, arguer, fight and flight wants to just fight and defend. But
Yeah.
I know from studying this long enough, anytime I'm defending, justifying, or rationalizing, I'm staying stuck.
Yeah.
So if someone says something I don't agree with, my goal is to breathe and not say anything.
Yeah. How long does it ever take you more than a breath, or are you so
Oh
finely
yeah.
tuned at this point?
No, I'm still
You're a New
human.
Yorker.
No, I'm still human, but it's a practice over time.
Mhm.
And when you see that you're emotionally hijacked,
Mhm.
I know that there's a wiser, each of us, every single person listening to this podcast has a wiser self, has
Yeah.
deep wisdom inside them and deep spirituality, but we don't access it all the time because we're so busy living in our brain.
Mhm.
So that's why I want to connect the mind to the heart to the gut because then it's aligned.
Yeah.
And then so it doesn't mean I don't agree. It does not mean I don't get upset. I always tease my husband can write the tell all on me because I have my moments and my little,
Of course.
cranky
Yeah.
parties or
'Cause you're a
whatever.
human and we all do. Yeah.
Yeah. But the difference is when you have the tools I write about in either of these books, they are temporary and you get yourself back on track much quicker. Some people,
That's great.
a high percentage of the population has no idea they have all the things you talk about, the agency to make a different choice.
Yeah.
I mean, people go on social media just to fight with each other. Like they just,
Mhm.
it's become this crazy universe where people do need to transcend and know. You ask me, how do I deal with people? I know everyone's doing the best they can.
And the best they know to do, right? Yeah. Yeah. Starting with that place of recognizing, that's really powerful. Like people are doing the best they can, the best of what they know to do. Yeah, that's great. You said something, two words that really stood out to me. Transcend is a little bit about that, like transcend what's happening, maybe internally, to and then have the tools, right? Practice those tools to be able to get yourself to that place for the other person, but also align. When you said align this time, so for those just listening, Michelle drew a line, literally a line, brain,
Mm.
heart, gut, right? That's a really nice reminder. Alignment starts here, and that's when it can go out more broadly. Yeah.
And I want people to know what that feels like. So some people say, what does that alignment feel like? And it's flow, right? Again, the positive
Yeah.
psychology. It's when you're running. I love dancing. If you love to dance, like sometimes I always say you could swim in your own emotions on the dance
Yeah.
floor. And dancing doesn't have a goal. It's not like I have to get to that side of the
Right.
room. You're just in this beautiful flow.
Yeah.
Any hiking, right, puts you
Yeah.
into the flow.
Yeah.
Anything in nature puts you into the flow because when you're in your personal energy alignment, in your flow, your brain stops talking
Yeah, it does.
and then you're in a peaceful place. So that's what you talk about, what I talk about.
Yeah.
And when you're in that place of peace, you make better decisions.
Make better decisions and more creative ones. And we could talk for hours about all the positive psychology and broaden and
Yeah.
build. And when you're in that place of positive
Yes.
emotions, how you see things more expansively and creatively and can bring them together in new ways. And that's a beautiful thing. So, well, thank you so much for all of this. Is there anything before we wrap up? Is there anything you want to share? Anything else for the listeners want to share about what's upcoming for you, what your big thing is that you're working on, the outcome? What outcome are you writing right now?
Well, right now it's all about the new book pretty much because it just
Yeah.
came out in December or January. So it's Energize Your Happiness. You could go to energizeyourhappiness.com. It's on Amazon, it's on lulu.com, and it's on audible.com. You can listen to it. And I really want to get it into as many hands as possible because each person does have control over their destiny. And each one of us has that same power. Like the sun has that power that we put into that magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Every single person listening has that same power. And when you focus it, you'll get a better result. So that's really my message to everyone.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And Michelle, thank you for being here and
Thank you.
sharing your work with us and sharing some of your heart and soul with all of us. You have beautifully taken 25 years of experience with your life, with all these leaders you've worked with, and really powerfully distilled it into something so simple. Energy first, everything follows. Create that alignment, and then it will extend out from there to really help you write your outcome. So thank you for all of that, and for everyone who's listening. Appreciate your time. Again, as Michelle said, you can find her at energizeyourhappiness.com. And again, her books are Happiness is a Habit and Energize Your Happiness, and her podcast, Write Your Outcome. So if this conversation resonated with you, yeah, thank you. Please share it with someone who needs to hear it. I think everyone needs to hear this. So share it with everyone. And if you haven't already done so, please follow this so you don't miss any future episodes. Thank you for joining us on the Future Walk podcast. Again, I'm Sarah Draper. And then this week, notice your energy. See what becomes clear when you align it with the outcome that you are writing. Until next time, enjoy your walk.